Hey y'all, welcome back to Homemade Simple. If we've not met before, I'm Lori. I'm really glad you're here today, and I'm excited to share 5 really inexpensive and super easy recipes with you. I'm going to try to keep all of the costs under $5 for the entire meal, and we're going to cook all of these meals in the crock pot. So this should help us with making an easy meal plan that's also really easy on the budget. I've got a lot of ideas for us today, so let's go ahead and get started. I don't have any boneless chicken to cook with, so what I'm gonna do is go ahead at the beginning of the week, cook my chicken in the Instant Pot. Then I'm going to go ahead and debone it. I'm going to put it in the refrigerator, and it will be ready throughout the week for me to use in the crock pot meals. I'm going to put this on the chicken setting, cook it for about 2 hours because it's frozen. That will give me some really nice broth, as well as having the chicken already taken care of for the week. Okay, I'm gonna take this opportunity to talk to those of you who may be a little afraid and grossed out by using bone-in chicken or whole chicken in your recipes. I know that it seems at first to be really gross to have to debone your chicken. I used to be there. That was how I felt not very long ago. But if you can just think outside your comfort zone and give it a try, after the first 1 or 2 times, it becomes more second nature, and it's not really that bad. So if you haven't tried cooking with bone-in or whole chicken, I would highly recommend that you give that a try. It will save you so much money on your grocery budget, and also it will give you a huge sense of accomplishment. For our first crock pot meal, we're gonna have chicken tostadas. This is probably about 2 cups of chicken. I'm gonna sprinkle it with salt, a teaspoon or 2 of cumin, and a teaspoon of chili powder, a container of pre-made salsa. I'm gonna pour half of that salsa on top of the chicken, and then I'm gonna cover it. And since my chicken is already cooked, I'm gonna put it on low I'll check it in about 2 hours. Okay, let's see how it's looking. Everything is well seasoned. It smells really good, so I'm just gonna stir it all together since it's already shredded. If you use like a chicken breast or something like that, you can at this point just shred it, but this looks like it's ready to go. I bought some corn tostadas. They are like corn tortillas that are baked. They really just look like a big tortilla chip if you've not seen one before, if you've not used this before. So I'm just gonna use 2 of these tostadas for each serving. I'm gonna layer them with the ingredients, just starting with the chicken. You can use whatever toppings you like the best. I have some shredded cheese, some diced tomatoes, some sour cream, and I'm gonna top it with a little bit more salsa. I did buy some avocado, but they're not ripe enough to use with this yet, so just gonna have to skip that for now. I'm gonna serve it with a small salad topped with some sour cream and cheese and salsa. The slow cooker has done all of the work for tonight's meal, and this is going to be a delicious, frugal meal that our whole family is going to love. Slow cooker meals are perfect for days like today when we are going to be gone for the majority of the day. I have library time with Lane, then we'll be home for just a few minutes, and then it'll be time to go to a funeral, unfortunately. So today is a day when I don't have a lot of time to meal prep or to prepare food when we get home and we're ready to eat dinner. So this is a perfect time to use the crock pot. I'm going to make some chicken stroganoff in the crock pot today, and I'm really looking forward to this supper. I'm gonna start with adding 3 tablespoons of butter to the bottom of my crock pot. I know that I should say slow cooker, that's what I mean, but I always say the wrong thing. I have my chicken, so I'm going to shred that on top of the butter. I try to use about 2 cups for our family meals. That gives us enough protein but it doesn't overdo the chicken, and it allows the whole chicken to last about 3 meals. I bought these canned mushrooms. I did that because it was much more cost effective. So I've drained them. I'm just gonna pour them on top of the chicken. And then I'm gonna add about 1.5 cups of chicken broth. I reserved this from when I was cooking my chicken. About a teaspoon or so of salt, a sprinkle of onion powder, a sprinkle of garlic powder. That's probably about 1/2 teaspoon each. And then I'm gonna put 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning. I'm gonna put this on low. I'm gonna let this cook while I'm gone today, and then we will do a few more things and then be ready to eat. Okay, it's time for dinner, so I'm going to give this chicken stroganoff a stir. I am cooking some angel hair pasta and also some green beans. After the pasta is done, I'm going to put a helping of the stroganoff on top of the pasta, top it with a little bit of Parmesan cheese, and serve it with the green beans. Okay, I have to confess something. I still must be on vacation brain mode, and last night when I got home from the funeral, I was gung-ho getting all of the stuff together for finishing up the meal. In the back of my mind, it was like, something is not right. And then when I put it on the pasta, I thought, this does not even look appetizing. This sort of looks gross. So I real quick put some Parmesan cheese on it, hoping that y'all wouldn't notice. And then as I was sleeping last night, I woke up and realized cream cheese. I was supposed to chop up cream cheese and put it in the crock pot 30 minutes before I was done, so that the cream cheese could melt and then it could be all nice and creamy. I forgot. So I thought about taking this recipe completely out of the video and just not telling y'all about it. But then I thought, well, at the beginning I said we were gonna have 5 recipes and I didn't really know how to handle it. So I thought, I think I'll just be straightforward and say what I had. The way I ate it last night tasted good. I mean, it wasn't bad. But if I had had some cream cheese in it, it would have tasted amazing. So when you are when you start making your pasta or your rice for your chicken stroganoff, open the crock pot, chop up a block of cream cheese and put it into the crock pot, stir it up, let it melt, put it on high, so that it will melt quicker. And then when your pasta or rice and vegetable is done, then the stroganoff will be nice and creamy and it will taste much better. So I'm sorry about that mix up. It happens around here quite frequently. So anyway, cream cheese for the win. I hope you enjoy that version of the chicken stroganoff. Next up is the easiest vegetable soup recipe. All of these canned vegetables, we're just gonna dump them into the crock pot, turn it on and let it simmer. I'm gonna begin with 1 large can of diced tomatoes, and for a little bit of spice, I'm gonna add some rotel, a can of carrots, a can of corn, a can of green beans. I'm not going to drain any of those vegetables because I want all of that flavor to be incorporated in our soup. Add 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning, 2 teaspoons of salt, give it a good stir, turn the slow cooker on low and leave it all day. At the end of the day, the soup turns out to be delicious, flavorful. I served mine with crackers. It made a delicious and super simple and easy meal. It's time for us to make some King Ranch chicken in the crock pot. We are ready to go. I've prepped up all of the ingredients and Lane has already started, so let's get busy. I took 12 6-inch corn tortillas and cut them into strips. So that's going to be the bottom layer. We're going to pour the rest of our cooked chicken into the bowl and shred it up really good. The recipe that I found for this calls for 2 cans of cream of chicken, but I have made my own cream of chicken using 3 cups of broth and 3/4 cup of flour, probably a teaspoon or so of salt and a little bit of pepper. I just heated that on the stove until it thickened.
Yeah.
You can use either. I try to go the more natural route, and so that's why I chose to do it that way. I have cut up 1 bell pepper and 1 onion. I'm going to pour that in. And Lane, do you want to help me stir? We're going to stir this all up really good. Okay, good job. That's nice and stirred. To this mixture, I'm going to add 1 can of Rotel and 2 cups of shredded cheese. Okay, now we're going to stir this all together again. This is looking really yummy.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Now we'll bring our crock pot back over here, and again, we have our corn tortillas layered in the bottom. We're going to pour 1/3 of our mixture on top. We're going to add a few more tortillas, another 1/3. You want to put the last of the tortillas on there? Okay. Then we're going to put the last bit of our chicken mixture, spread that around, sprinkle a little bit more cheese on the top. Cover this, put it on low, and cook it for about 3 hours. I'm going to remove the lid and allow it to cook for about 30 minutes, sort of like it's baking in the oven, and allow that cheese to harden up a bit. I'm gonna top each serving with a little bit of sour cream and serve it with a side salad. I think that your family is really going to enjoy this meal. We really liked it, and it seems like it's going to be the perfect fall time dinner. So you might just see this meal make a comeback on the channel soon. Our final meal is going to be beef enchiladas. I'm going to go ahead and cook up some ground beef and season that with a teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of chili powder, and 2 teaspoons of cumin. And while this meat browns, I'm going to make some homemade enchilada sauce. Now you can totally get a can of enchilada sauce and that be absolutely fine, but I like to make my own. It just is pretty easy, and it eliminates a lot of cost and also a lot of ingredients. I'm going to start with 1 tablespoon of olive oil. I'm going to heat that up a bit. Now that my oil is heated, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of flour, and I'm going to whisk this for a full minute to make sure that we get rid of sort of the raw flour flavor. This is sort of a half recipe. You can double this recipe. That's normally what I do, is use 2 tablespoons of oil and 2 tablespoons of flour, but honestly I'm running low on chili powder, so that's why I have it. Now I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of chili powder, a teaspoon of cumin, a teaspoon of garlic powder, and a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to stir all this together and cook it for another minute. And now I'm going to whisk in 1 cup of chicken broth. I'll stir this and whisk this to make sure that it's all nice and incorporated. And then I'm going to let it simmer on the stove, stirring it every now and again for probably 10 minutes until it's thickened up. While this is thickening, I'm going to get the ground beef and the other ingredients ready. I have all my ingredients ready. I have quartered 5 flour tortillas. I have shredded some cheese. I have made our enchilada sauce, and I have browned our seasoned ground beef. So those are the ingredients you're going to need. I'm going to start by putting a little bit of enchilada sauce in the bottom of the crock pot. I'm going to go ahead and turn it to high so that it can be warming up, and then I'm going to place a layer of these tortillas on the bottom. I'm going to sprinkle those tortillas with about 1/2 of the ground beef, and then pour 1/2 of the enchilada sauce on top. Sprinkle some cheese, and I'm going to repeat that process one more time. I'm going to cook this on high for about 2.5 hours or so. Okay, the enchiladas have been cooking for a little over 2 hours on high. And honestly, this looks like something that has been cooked in the oven. It's bubbling, it smells really good, and I am probably a little bit more excited about this dish than I should be. Let's plate it up. I'm gonna top it with a little bit of sour cream, and I have chopped up some tomatoes. If you have some salsa left over from earlier in the week, that would also be really good with this dish. I've cut up some avocado, and I think that this is going to be a delicious dinner. I've really enjoyed sharing these recipes with you this week. I hope that you have found something to be inspiring to be able to feed your family on $5 each night. I welcome any kinds of comments and ideas for future video suggestions or any of your family favorite meals on a budget. I would love to hear about all of those in the comments as well. Before we go, I do want to share with you something that I find very interesting. This is not at all a sponsored video, but I purchased this item on Amazon a couple of months ago, and I've been keeping track of the cost of our meals this week. So I have had my crock pot plugged in to this device that I got on Amazon. I'll link it down below in case you want to get one for yourself. But I found out that it's cost 73 cents for us to make all 5 of these crock pot meals this week. And with the average of $5 per meal, this week has been a really inexpensive but delicious meal week for us here. So I hope that you enjoy these recipes. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please also don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon so you can be notified when new content is added to the channel. And be sure to share the video with someone who you love that might be searching for frugal family meal ideas as well. I hope you'll have a wonderful week. I love you, and I will see you again next time.